The Commanders last season were by far the most surprising team in the league, as they went from the second worst team in the NFL all the way to 12 wins and an NFC Championship game appearance. And because of last year's success, their expectations are much higher heading into 2025. And some people think that they're gonna build off their success in 2024 and will cement themselves as a Super Bowl contender. And I do think Washington will be good, and it is very well possible that they are Super Bowl contender in 2025. But while I do think that they will be a good team, I do have some concerns with this team that could lead to them being a little bit underwhelming this upcoming season, which is what we're going to go over in today's video. Now, before we do get started, of course, go ahead and hit the like button if you guys end up enjoying the video, since it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy content like this. That way you don't miss out on any new videos like the one you're watching right now. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get things started. Now, before we get started with what does concern me about the Commanders, I'm going to start off with what doesn't worry me, and that is their offense. Washington's offense was super good last season, and that was easily the main catalyst for how good they were. The Commanders ranked 5th in team offense, 17th in passing offense, but 3rd in rushing offense, 5th in points per game, 6th and 3rd down percentage, 6th in red zone percentage, 4th in points per drive, and they ranked top 4 in most efficiency stats like EPA per play, success rate, dropback EPA, etc. Now, Jayden Daniels, he's already one of the best quarterbacks in the league, of course, and he had an all-time great rookie season where he threw for 3,568 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 9 picks, and according to PFF, he had 20 big-time throws and only 11 turnover-worthy plays, and he also ranked highly in most efficiency stats. Along with that, he ran for 891 yards and 6 touchdowns, and of course, he led the Commanders to 12 wins and an NFC Championship game appearance, and he was good in, pretty much all the playoff games that they had, which is some really insane stuff from a rookie, obviously. And like I said before, he is already one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and I think he has a really high ceiling, and he should take the leap into being a top 3 to 5 quarterback this upcoming season. He very well could do that, and some people think that he might have a sophomore slump in 2025 because CJ Stroud had one, and because defenses have more film on him. And it is very possible that he does have a sophomore slump, but me personally, I don't think Jayden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump, and I think he is going to be better than he was last year. Along with that, the Commanders are pretty solid at the skill positions, as at wide receiver, they got Terry McLaurin, who, he's having contract issues right now, and the Commanders, well, they should pay him because he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, obviously. But they also added Deebo Samuel, who is coming off a down year, but he is a good gadget player, and I do think he can be a good wide receiver too. Noah Brown is a solid wide receiver, plus they got Luke McCaffrey, who is young, and I do think he does have some potential to be a solid receiver. Zach Ertz is also a good tight end despite the fact that he is pretty old, and the Commanders do have Ben Sinnott, who is a young guy with some potential as well. And then at running back, you have Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, and neither of those guys are elite, but I do think Brian Robinson is a decent starting running back, and Austin Eckler is a running back too. He is pretty good. And Washington's offensive line, last year it wasn't actually that bad. They were 9th in pass block win rate and 2nd in run block win rate according to ESPN, and I think their offensive line should continue to play well and honestly should be even better with the addition of Laremy Tunsil, who's one of the best tackles in the NFL, and they drafted Josh Conerly Jr., and I thought he was one of the best tackles in the 2025 NFL draft. Now, Sam Cosmi did tear his ACL in the divisional round versus the Lions, which definitely does suck, and he will miss a good portion of the 2025 season because of that. But that said, Sam Cosmi, he is one of the best guards in the league when healthy, and I do think he should help this offensive line out a lot when he does return. The Commanders also do have Cliff Kingsbury at offensive coordinator, and a lot of people were critical of him when he was the head coach of the Cardinals a few years ago, and while some of that criticism is warranted, I like what Cliff Kingsbury did with Washington this past season, and he was no doubt a massive reason why their offense was so good and why Jayden Daniels played so well. So yeah, the Commanders offense, like I said before, it's really good, and as long as Jayden Daniels plays at a really high level, and as long as Cliff Kingsbury continues to do his thing, I have no doubt in my mind that Washington's offense is going to be really good. Now, while the Commanders' offense is really good, what does worry me though is Washington's defense. They were not very good defensively last year, as they finished 18th in team defense. They were 3rd in passing defense, to be fair, but they were 30th in rushing defense, 18th in points per game, 15th in third down percentage, which isn't really the worst, but they were 22nd in red zone percentage, 23rd in points per drive, and they did not rank highly in most efficiency stats like EPA per play, success rate, dropback EPA, etc. Now, a large part of that was due to a lack of talent on that side of the ball. And even though the Commanders did make some additions to their defense this offseason, I'm still skeptical about this unit and if they are good enough for the Commanders to contend. Their defensive line is really not the best. Daron Payne, while he is usually pretty good, he is coming off a big down season. They did sign Javon Kinlaw to a big contract for some reason, which I really don't understand. Javon Kinlaw, he is not good. I really gotta ask, like, what was the Commanders front office doing there? They do have Jerzon Newton, to be fair, and I really like Jerzon Newton a lot coming out of Illinois. He's a young guy with a lot of potential, and I do think that Jerzon Newton, in his second season, he definitely could take a pretty big leap, to be fair. They do have Dorrance Armstrong at edge rusher, and he's a decent player, but he's not exactly like an amazing game-changing player. They also signed Dietrich Wise this offseason, and look, as a Patriots fan, I love Dietrich Wise. He's a Pats legend for sure, and he's a solid player, don't get me wrong, but he's not exactly amazing. And I know Washington signed Von Miller recently, and Von Miller, again, he's a legend, and he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. There is no doubt about that, and he is one of the greatest edge rushers of all time. But Von Miller, he's super old, and frankly, he's pretty washed, and while I definitely think he can contribute as a good rotational edge rusher, Von Miller, again, is just not a game-changing type player. Now, I do like the Commanders linebackers, as they got Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, and I really like Frankie Louvu. I've liked him for a few years now. I thought he was super underrated for a long time. This past season, though, he did start to get some recognition for how good he is. I think he's a really good hybrid, like, off-ball linebacker / edge rusher type player. Again, he's really good. And Bobby Wagner, even though he is really old and not exactly in his prime anymore, he is still quite good and one of the better linebackers in the league. And their secondary, it definitely does have some question marks, but it also is a little bit promising at the same time. Their cornerback room definitely does have some upside, as they traded for Marshon Lattimore at the deadline this past season. And Marshon Lattimore, he was a little bit of a weird player, as he did struggle with injuries, and he honestly was kind of disappointing when he was on the field for the Commanders. You know, his on-field play, again, it was a little bit disappointing, but we know that he is capable of being a very good player when he is healthy. It's, again, just Marshon Lattimore, he has to stay healthy, and he just has to play, you know, like the typical Marshon Lattimore, which is one of the better cornerbacks in the league. So hopefully he can stay healthy and get back to playing at a high level. They did sign Jonathan Jones, and again, he's a Pats legend. I love him. But, and Jonathan Jones, he is a little bit old, and again, while he's no superstar player, I will say he is a solid player. They also did draft Trey Amos, who I liked a lot coming out of Ole Miss, and I do think Trey Amos can be really good if given enough playing time. So we'll see how good of a rookie season Trey Amos does have. And their safeties, though, they are kind of mid. Quan Martin, I mean, he's all right. He is a young player, and I definitely think he could be good. But as it stands right now, he's not exactly amazing. And Will Harris, he's okay, but he's not exactly great. So yeah, again, this secondary, there are things to like about it, and they definitely could be like a decent secondary, especially their cornerback room. But their safeties, again, they just aren't that good. And overall, this secondary, again, while it does have some promise, it also is a little bit questionable. And Dan Quinn, he is a defensive-minded head coach, and he was a really good DC back in the day for the Seahawks, and he was obviously really good for the Cowboys as their defensive coordinator, which is why he was hired, you know, in the first place to be the Commanders' head coach. And I do like what he did in his first year, obviously, and I do have some faith that he can turn the Commanders into a good defensive team, because he is a good defensive mind. But with that said, Washington's defense, it is still a little bit lacking in talent, which is concerning for a team that, again, wants to contend for a Super Bowl. And while Dan Quinn is a good defensive mind, and I think he can elevate, you know, this unit because of that, it's a lot harder to have a good defense when you're so lacking in talent. And the combo of good coaching and mediocre talent, it can really only take you so far before the cracks really start to show. And like I said before, while I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump, if he does and the defense isn't much better, then Washington really will be in trouble and would be in danger of missing the playoffs. But again, I think Jaden Daniels and this offense, they're going to be really good once again in 2025, and I do think the Commanders will make the playoffs. But like I said before, if they want to win it all and be a true contender, their defense really needs to step up, because in order to win a title, you have to be at least solid on both sides of the ball. And the chances of you winning a title with a bad offense or a bad defense, it is extremely minuscule. I mean, we saw, again, the Commanders, they were extremely good last season. Again, they won 12 games, and they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, which is really impressive. But, you saw how they got digged down by the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, and a large reason why is because their defense just got completely exposed. I mean, the offense, again, their offense, it is really good, but you just can't expect your offense to, put up 50 points every game, no matter how good it is. And I know the NFC might be a little bit less stacked than the AFC, but that doesn't mean there are zero contenders in that conference, because there are contenders in the NFC, all of whom got super potent offenses. I mean, you got the reigning Super Bowl champions in the Philadelphia Eagles, who play in the NFC East, obviously, which does suck for the Commanders. You got the Rams, the 49ers if they remain mostly healthy, the Lions, even the Buccaneers are a good team and they got a really good offense, and the Vikings could also be really good once again, depending on how well JJ McCarthy plays. So if the Commanders do want to repeat last season's success or be even better, they'll need their defense to be at least above average, because a great offense and a trash defense, that can only take you so far. Now, they certainly could be an above-average defense, but again, it does depend on some factors, like if Jerzon Newton can take a big leap as a player, I guess how good their edge rushers are, and if they can maybe over-exceed expectations, and if their cornerback room can reach their potential, which, like I said before, that potential is pretty good. Now, in my honest opinion, I think Washington's defense will be about average this year, which would be an improvement compared to what they were in 2024. And while I definitely think that would be enough for the Commanders to, again, still be a really good team and, possibly make some noise, I'm not sure if it's enough to win it all. But ultimately, we'll see what happens, this upcoming season, and how good the Commanders are and how good their defense is. But like I said before, their offense, I think it's going to be great. How good the Commanders are this upcoming season will ultimately, that depends on how much improved their defense is. But that's all I got to say for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and then check me out on social media. The links to my Twitter, yes, I'm dead naming it. I'm not calling that shit X. The links to my Twitter and my Instagram, they are in the description below. But without further ado, I'm out, you guys.